Fairy Tail chapter 326. All right, so the title of this chapter is Natsu versus Rogue. So this is pretty much what this is going to be focusing on. So I'm just going to get right into it. While both of them are fighting, they know that they have pretty good hearing, so they hear that the eclipse doors are opening. And so Rogue is just like, Rogue is pretty much just saying, I should just hurry up and finish you now so that I can kill Lucy. And you know Natsu and his feelings, he's just not too fond of it, and he's just determined to stop Future Rogue. So while they are fighting, Rogue is pretty much just kicking Natsu's ass up and down, sideways, just pretty much everywhere. Natsu doesn't even get one single hit in. And so Natsu, feeling the desperation of his situation, he activates Lightning, Fire, Dragon mode. And Future Rogue, seeing this, he's just like, oh wow, so this is the power that you've been hiding for 7 years. Because if you remember in the fight where Natsu fights Sting and Rogue by himself, he doesn't activate Lightning, Fire, Dragon mode. He just uses whatever power he can to defeat them. Because Lightning, Fire, Dragon mode really takes a lot out of him, and Natsu really hasn't had much practice to try and master it. And on top of that, it takes up a lot of his magical energy. But I believe he can probably master it now with his second origin that has been released because of Altair. And so while Natsu is in Lightning, Fire, Dragon mode, he goes in for the punt. He goes in for one knockout punch, in which it looks like. But before he does that, oh my gosh, Rogue activates White Shadow Dragon mode. And this is, at that point, I'm thinking, yo, are you serious? White Dragon, that is Sting's power. How did he get this? And at this point, I'm only thinking two things. Either Rogue killed Sting, or Sting died and he gave Rogue his shadow. I mean, his light. Correction, sorry. And as you read on, you'll find out. But Rogue, he deals a very serious blow to Natsu right on the side. And there's just blood coming out of everywhere. And so Sting, he's just trying to finish this right now. And he unleashes a move called White Shadow Dragon Rough Silk. And from the look of it, he's just zipping everywhere, just bludgeoning Natsu. And Natsu is getting his ass kicked. And you don't really see this from Natsu, because if he does get his ass kicked, usually he'll find a way to like muster up some kind of inner strength, I should say, or the power of feelings. There we go. He musters up the power of feelings and he is able to defeat his enemy. But with his fight with Future Rogue, this isn't the case. He's just too freaking powerful. And a few, well, not even a few pages later, like a page later, Rogue then he feels, he said, this is the power I achieved by killing Sting. And I'm just like, I knew it. I had a feeling that he killed Sting, because they probably weren't even aware that they could have two elements. That part is still iffy. I want to know how Rogue knew that he could have two elements at the same time. I hope Hero actually goes in depth about that, how they figured it out. So what I was saying is, Natsu is, like I said, he's battered and he's bloody, and Natsu can't even stand up straight. At this point, I believe he is on his knees, blood all over his face and everything. And Rogue just prepares, Future Rogue prepares for the final blow, which is his roar of the White Shadow Dragon. But before he does that, he's attacked. and you just see balls everywhere. And I mean, when you see crystal balls, there is only one person that you can think of, and that's Altair. She attacks him with flash forward, and it seems like she was able to get him, but Rogue actually escapes somehow. And Altair's not alone. She's with Melody. I'll just call her Melody. Her and Melody are there, and they see Natsu wounded to the point where it looks apparent that Natsu is just going to die. He is passed out. He is bloody. That is the worst Natsu has ever gotten his ass kicked ever. And so while they prepare the first aid kit, Natsu is being, I don't know how to describe, he's being pulled in by these shadows. Now, I do not believe that these shadows are Rogue, future Rogue, but I believe that Rogue has been able to master his shadow abilities before killing Sting and actually gaining Sting's powers of the White Dragon also. So what I believe is that Rogue can actually send out his shadows to do his bidding, to do his will, to just do what he needs to do while he goes off and does something else. Because, I mean, if he escaped, I don't think he's going to try and come back to face both Altair and Melody, because they are strong as hell. I mean, even though we don't get to see the full extent of their powers, you can bet they are tougher than they were 7 years ago. And so after this scene, it goes back to the eclipse and the doors opening finally. And Wendy, you know her, she's a little crybaby. She's crying and she's talking to Lucy, saying how the future is going to be a happy place for them where nobody is going to suffer. But at that moment, Lucy, fucking Lucy, man. She says the most outrageous shit ever. She says, "We mustn't open the door. I have to close it now." And that is where it ends off. So it looks like Lucy will close the doors after all. But I'm just thinking, Wendy, you are right there. Try to stop her. I'm pretty sure you are physically stronger than her. And even if not physically, at least use your Dragon Slayer magic to incapacitate her. And that's just where I don't know. But I don't think Lucy is doing it intentionally. I don't think her herself is doing it. And why you saying that is in the last panel. When Lucy said, "We mustn't open the door, I have to close it now." If you pay attention to her eyes, they are pure solid black. You don't see the glimmer from her pupils. You don't see her iris. You don't see nothing. It's just pitch black. And usually when a person gets that look in their eyes, it's either because they're possessed or they're fucking possessed. That's pretty much it. And I believe Future Rogue is controlling her. And why do I think this? I think this mostly because, like I said, Rogue probably has been able to master his abilities beyond what people could think that he could do. I believe that he can send his shadows out to people and control them. And I got 1 point for that. On the final day of the Daimoto Enbo, the Grand Magic Games, when Sting was fighting Gajio and Gajia was kicking Rogue's ass. Hold on, did I say Sting earlier? And fuck it. When Gajia was fighting Rogue, a shadow came and possessed Rogue. I'm pretty sure all of you remember that. And he says, I will give you the power to kill Gajia. After that, Rogue wasn't capable of thinking on his own. The shadow was controlling him. And who was this shadow? That shadow was Future Rogue. That's pretty much it. That is my point. I believe Future Rogue was there for that last day of the Grand Magic Games. And I believe he possessed Future Rogue. And if Future Rogue possessed current timeline Rogue. And if he has the power to control him... Fuck, I'm confusing myself. If he has the power to control himself in the past... I know it sounds confusing as fuck. Let me put it this way. He was able to control somebody by using his shadow. If he's able to do this, I believe he is doing the same to Lucy. Because remember, he escaped. And I believe he sent one of his shadows to do the bidding by pulling Natsu into his shadow. So with that being said, I believe Lucy is now currently being controlled by Rogue. But that's what I believe. You don't have to believe what I say. We just have to wait for the next few chapters to come out and see what the fuck is going on with Lucy. So guys, this is the Adonis 003 signing out. Like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, I'll be doing more of these. I will see you guys next week.